Hi, my name is Parcsen. Today I'll be speaking with an ordinary father, Vinson Chua. Tell us a bit about yourself so that people watching this video will get to know you a bit more.
Well, I'm just an ordinary father. I have three kids, two beautiful girls and one young son. In fact, I always share with people that the son is being requested by the two girls who want a real baby to play with. So
Okay.
I'm a very hands-on, a very happy father, I should say, and I'm very thankful for all the privilege, whether in terms of work or in terms of a life partner like my wife, and even the supporting environment like my parents-in-law, that comes into the ecosystem, I call it, to support this journey. So yeah, that's very much about me.
Well, like they say, right, it takes a village to raise a child.
Right, right.
So you're an ordinary father, as you say, but quite a extraordinary because not many families have three kids nowadays. So congratulations to you.
Yeah, we are thankful for that because as I mentioned earlier, it's a request by the girl. They came one day and said, look, we don't want to play with the baby dolls. They want real style. So yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's nice. So maybe that's called maternal instinct. So that's a topic for another day. Well, can you still recall the time you became a first-time father? What was it like? What were some of the feelings and the thoughts that went through your mind when your child was, or when you were expecting, you and your wife were expecting a first child, and when your first child was born?
Yeah, I guess that was like 20 over years ago. And I always remember my first child. When she was born, exactly on that night, I had a nightmare, because I dreamt that suddenly she grew up to be a big girl and she was on this, I think they call Pegasus, right? The horse with the wings, right? And she just flew off and bye bye, father. I said, oh, I haven't become a father, and then you fly off. So I guess that was like a big lesson for me lah, to learn how to uh, to expect that our role is to bring them up and be prepared to let go. So I didn't know that the dream came on the first night. So well, I was privileged to watch all my three kids. We were all excited to take photo, right? So I watched I think I'm the first person they saw. I don't know whether they remember or not, but I saw their first, the first time they opened their eyes, and that's life. That's really beautiful. And it puts on a responsibility here, right? And I think this responsibility has to manage well. When we carry too heavy, it kind of affect us. So in my early stage, it was really a very kind of traditional motivation to give them the best. So that was my first, if you ask me about that first thought.
Mm.
Yeah.
Coming back to your what you call a nightmare, I think it's not a nightmare. I think it's more like a dream with a message. Okay. I think what you dreamt was that your child grew up so quickly, became an adult almost overnight,
Yeah,
and then left the home, right? And I think that's a
right.
reminder for all parents that yeah, the time that we actually have with our children may seem very long, 20 over years, right? Up to 30 until they get married. But effectively, all this time just passes very quickly. And so number one, I think we need to cherish the time. Number two, we really need to use it wisely, use it effectively, right? So that we don't, get distracted by other things. And then when before we know it, we say, hey, where has the time gone? And oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have, we should have talked more about this, I should have, shared more stories or whatever. So I think, thank you for that dream. I think it's really a message for all parents that, yeah, don't waste time.
Yeah, actually, you hit it right. And over their growing up years, I have a lot of hands-on time with them. We brought them to the farm, bring them to the zoo. We are members of the zoo. I mean, our message to them is this, weekday you learn, weekend we bond. So we do not want to spend that money to go and relearn what they learn in school. So no tuition for my kids. So we really spend a lot of quality time, just let's play. And I always share with people. I encourage people to learn to play with their kids, and while playing, you can learn. So the tagline is learn to play, play to learn. And I
Wonderful.
also shared with the Dads for Life movement, as you may be aware, I'm part of the White Sands Fathers group. And coming back to this daughter, she's really doing that already. She's now in
Mm.
university. She has stayed in the hostel since year one. So I'm like so get used to the fact that she's not living with us. Sometimes I lock the door and my wife say, "Hey, Charmaine's coming back. Why you lock the door?" I say, "Oh, okay." So that's the name of my eldest daughter. Yeah, it really passed so fast.
So you've been a father for 20, at least 20 years, right? Um, when you became a father after maybe a year or two or maybe 5 years, did you feel that, it was what you expected it to be or more than what you expected it to be?
I guess the learning is ever new every year,
Mm,
especially when you have one, then you have the second, first different from the second, second different from the third. So every year is a new learning journey.
mm,
So I have a mentor who shared that as father we are L plate license every year. Every year we put on our L plate and then we learn. So yeah, it's really very different. So the initial years when you felt that thing a while like that, so it was a pretty challenge. And that would also mean that it take a toll with your partner. So other than like I mentioned earlier, we have certain common value that we believe in letting the child play, letting them have a childhood. Eh, our intent is the same, but our approach may be different because I grew up in the more Chinese style, so I believe in discipline, while she believe in love. So that was a key challenge we faced. The end point is the same, the fundamental is the same, whereas the approach is different,
mm.
right?
That's true. We all have good intentions, right? Yeah, but like you say, the implementation part, sometimes it gets influenced or affected by some other forces and factors that maybe we're not even aware of. Like, for example, our childhood, things that we've experienced in our childhood, comes up and begin to influence us and make us behave in a certain way that we actually don't want to behave that way. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
and then we realize, hey, what am I doing? Why am I angry all the time? Why am I so harsh and things like that? Yeah. So after all this time of fatherhood, would you say fatherhood means to you?
It's actually a growth journey for myself. So in the early stage, you learn to work with them. You learn to they will ask you question 10,000 times, and then when they play with you the same thing again and again, it's a very simple thing. So it takes a lot of patience, and sometimes I learned how not to set expectation. So like for example, like at this age you should be able to do this, at that age you should be able to do that. So we kind of give them time to grow. Like for example, my eldest, I think up to P1 or P2, then off diapers. But my youngest by no 3 4 years old off diapers already. So
Hmm.
it's like we learn that journey lah. So in fact right now as my kid get tougher, smarter than me, it's a reverse. Like I become more stupid. Then I was like, can you be more patient with me? Sometimes I can't hear that well. But again, they don't really know it. It's like that transition period when we go to one stage. Hey, when they're old enough, I was like, hey, why don't you take bus to school? Why you need us to fetch you? This kind of thing. So it's kind of a modulation. They grow us, we grow them. And I wanted to take back to our previous conversation about my wife philosophy about love. And I have to acknowledge and thank her for that. Through showing love, right? Uh, I really felt that it is a more fundamental, a more sustainable way. So I used to come home and when I saw my children do this, I was like straight away discipline them. or the shoe are not straight. This you should do this or this. So I realized that that is not helping. And as they grow older, right, they can hold conversation with me like, hey, Father, you're not active listening. And I'm like, oh, okay. And as I show them more love, I realize that it kind of create a more healthy relationship. And one step is kind of I think bridge, right, that they know that you love them, then it's easier. It's really relationship building, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Unfortunately, I realized that a bit too late for myself. Yeah,
It's
I
never too
guess
late.
it's never too late, yes. But I wish I had started earlier, so that I can reap the benefits like what you just described, being able to hold conversations with your kids and they are able to be very open and candid with you, right? Even so-called rebuking you,
Yeah.
okay, in a nice way, of course, in a respectful and polite way, all right? But that's wonderful. That's exactly what we want, right? Because when they become adults, we want them to be assertive. We want them to be able to speak what's on their mind, right? And not be shy and not be a people pleaser. So it all begins at home, right? As parents, I think that's what we simulate the real world at home
Mhm.
so that our children grow up in that kind of environment and learn the necessary life skills. And when they really hit the real world, they will be able to survive and thrive there. Coming back to about child discipline, just yesterday or a few days or weeks ago, there was this survey done by Singapore Children's Society together with NUS Yale University about child discipline, spanking in particular, right? Yeah. Do you spank your kids or have you ever spanked your kids?
No, no, I I don't beat my children, but I do discipline them.
Mm,
So I grew up in a harsher environment where we were caned and so on. And my father-in-law shared one story with me that we have children to what? To love them. If you beat up your children and accidentally injured them, is that worth it? In Cantonese, they say you slap them, then become sautaya, become stupid. Then what for you have children? So for that, we never cane them, but I probably raised my voice, shouted at them, and yeah, there are certain time when you have nothing to hit, right, you hit the wall. so or I'll just take the cane and hit the table just to scare them. That's a key
mm,
thing, and that wasn't a good method. I realized that they learn nothing, and yeah, my wife become their defender. So she'll be like the 老鹰刷小鸡, right? The mother hen protecting the children. So yeah, we went through that phase, and we are very thankful that over the years we learn to work with each other, learn to grow, and yeah, and the the situation is better as we move along. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's the very common in every family, right? The two parents, mother and father, because we come from different families, we were raised differently, and so when we become parents ourselves, we have that idea of what parenting should be like. How do we raise children? What's the right way of raising children? But the two doesn't align. The two views doesn't align. And so that's where, a lot of times conflict arises. So how did you and your wife kind of manage this and eventually align with each other so that you can be parenting as a team?
That's a very good question. In the early years, we learn from some Chinese kind of parenting, 严父慈母. So I'm the strict father. I told her to love our discipline, but that didn't work well because my discipline method and her discipline method not really the same. And then we learn to discuss before we execute. And there was a stage when I was disengaged with the children, to be honest. So most of the things it will go through my wife, and somehow or another, when this happened, right, um, I call it the withdrawal syndrome now. So it's like, okay, lor, you lead home, then I'll go and do my work. Then I focus too much on work. So eventually, when we sit down, we actually got through the our church gives us some marriage counseling that also includes some parenting. So I thank God lah. Through this journey, we learn to have more alignment, and through that we kind of just manage to understand each person's role, and we are our kids are 20 over years. It took us like 20 years to do that, and we are thankful that we still have a young son who is like now Sec 3. So yeah, last night he just came to our room and hugged us. So we are very happy now. So we learn to talk. We learn to talk and not to downplay each other in front of the kid, because it's really not healthy to argue in front of the kids. So we learn to hold what we want to say, and behind the door, then we share why are we doing this and stuff like that. Before that, it was immediate action, immediate reaction, and immediate, oh no, you cannot do this kind of. So I think it's it's also something that I would encourage parents to really align behind the scene. On the scene, somebody has to give way. It's not a battle worth fighting for. I would say
Mm,
sometimes you, as men, you say you want your favorite. Walao, like sorry, a little bit bang, right? They say the father, right? The limp thing, right? Then like, okay, sorry. Uh, Sometimes you have to swallow that pride. And then the thing is that when you have harmony in house, that's that's a beautiful thing. Everything just so peaceful. You want to come back to a house where there's laughter, not where there's
mm,
argument. So we are thankful that we have managed to do that to our best level. Yeah.
yeah. I like it when you said, when I asked you what fatherhood means to you, and you said it's your own growth journey. I like that, and I think every parent should be like this, that we are learning. And Adam Grant, who wrote a book about learning, right? He says that it's impossible for someone to learn anything new if he thinks he knows it already. I talked to you earlier and asked you about what is a subject that is very you're very passionate, you feel strongly about, passionate about, and you talked about the definition of success. Would you like to share a bit and elaborate on that?
Yeah, I guess the definition of success, what I felt most burdened about is it caused unnecessary stress on the child. And even it spilled over to adult. A lot of my peers are stressed over what if their child want this, what if their child want that, how to fulfill this, how to fulfill that. And likewise, when I talk to younger people, it's like they don't seem to please their parents. So I think we brought back earlier discussion about my emphasis on play on the weekend, born on the weekend, and study on the weekday. And it's really that philosophy that I like to share. That when we learn to play, we can also play to learn. And at the same time, through this process, right, we must be able to embrace failure. One of the challenge I find that in our current society is that people felt that at certain age you should be doing something. At certain age you should achieve this. I mean, can I take O level at 25 years old? Why not? Can I change my career at 45 years old? Relearn something. So these are something that I shared earlier lah. That in fact, when my child come back with let's say spelling 4/10, I congratulate them for knowing four. I say I rather that you know these four words than to remember 10 words and after 1 week forget 10 of them. So it is better to learn 4 out of 10 well than to learn 10/10 then forget everything. So the society has defined success by paper, by that exam, and by that qualification. It's kind of not sustainable. So and I really, in my journey with the Dads for Life movement, I always encourage parents to kind of allow them to fail. And in fact, when failure comes, it's a very good time for us to bond with them through supporting them in that journey. So we need to be their number one fan. You know,
Mm,
ups and downs. A lot of parents say, "Oh, we want the best for the kids. We love them." But how do we love them? Can we be their number one fan? Can we be there and just keep quiet, do nothing when they fall down? When they feel like talking, let them talk. They don't feel like talking, it's okay. And I also learned not to give them advice. So I felt that a lot of parents are even giving advice to teachers. Recently, there's some articles on that, right? Parents are giving teachers advice how to teach. So I think we should know our role as parents. And
yeah.
that's something that burdened me also when I talk with the school, talk with the friends who are teaching professionals. Is that dealing with parents is more challenging than dealing with children. So we need to trust the system, and it starts from ourselves. It starts from ourselves to really reframe our mindset, allow failure, change the definition of success. I mean, even though the child love to do art can be very important, no, in even engineering design. Because if an
Hmm.
engineer designs something that only engineer can use, you and me won't be doing Zoom today already. But you need some art in it, right? So
Yeah,
some human factor
that's
in it.
true.
So yeah, so that is something I hope that the society can change, and I urge parents to influence parents to embrace the different learning journey, different learning path of children. It's like it's okay to be normal stream. It's okay to be anti stream.
Mm.
It's I have a classmate in NTU. He went through IT, Poly, then come to NTU. But every institute, right, he's the best student, no? He topped his IT, he
Wow.
topped his Poly, and in NTU, he's a first class honors. So I he was one of my inspiration to realize that hey, it's okay to take the longer route.
Yeah. I think that reflects his attitude,
Mm,
isn't it? I think an
right.
attitude is also very important, if not more important than intelligence and good grades. When you are in the working workforce in real life and things like that, it's your attitude that really makes you outstanding, and different from others. Okay, Vincent, thank you for sharing all that. Now, I want to give you the opportunity to ask me a question if you have one.
Yes, I think from your vast experience teaching parenting, teaching I think men for the fathers, what is that one advice that you give fathers how to work with their child to unleash their passion in life?
Well, I think it starts with themselves. I think you also mentioned that, it starts with us. I've created a series called Raising Sons. So it's a series for fathers who are raising boys, sons. And one of the sessions we talk about purpose and passion, right? And one of the things I try to impress, in fact, these sessions are kind of a two-edged sword, if you understand what I mean, right? Yeah. Okay. The fathers came to attend the session, uh, thinking that it is, they will learn how to raise their sons, right? And to find their passion and their purpose in life. But before they can do that, they are challenged with this question: do you have a passion? Do you have a purpose in life? Right? So one of the questions I ask the fathers is, does your child know what you do for work? And they say yes. What's their reaction when you tell them what you do? Is it, wow, it's so inspiring. I want to be what you are, be who you are, and do what you're doing. Or is their reaction, huh? So boring. you know? So it is through our own life that we, lead by example. As many people say, more things are caught than taught, right? We can take our children, and help them identify their strengths and all that. But if we are not living the kind of life that will inspire them, and show them that, hey, you can actually doesn't matter what you do, you can still find meaning. You can still be passionate about it, right? And what really matters, okay, is this and not something else. So if we can set the example, I think that we would have, yeah, it's more than half the battle won, right? And you set the example, you don't even have to explain a lot. They see you and they want to be what you're doing. I think a lot of we see the younger generation, having a different priority, set of priorities today. My theory is that because they looked at their parents, right? Their parents work so hard, night and day, no life and not happy. And as the children were growing up, they asked themselves, do I want this kind of life? Do I want to be like that? Do I want to be in my parents' shoes in the future? And of course, the answer is no, right? And so therefore, they are looking for something else. They are redefining what a career looks like. It's no longer finding a job, working hard, for the next 30, 40 years until you retire. They want something different. They want meaning. They want fun. They want engagement, all right? They want to take care of their mental health and well-being and things like that. Where did all this come from? Well, my theory is that they looked at their own parents and made a decision. I don't want that. I want something else. Yeah. So I think setting an example is very important for us as parents.
Oh, thanks for that sharing. And I think many of us will agree with that. But the only one other question that if I may add on, right, is that incongruency in the actual situation. There are a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to do this," but they are in an environment that may not support that. Or I mean, whether is it work, whether is it community, etc. So I guess we also need to be able to find like-minded people. I think places like Center for Fathering is really an amazing place where I think the mission paper is very clear about fathers, about helping fathers to be better fathers, better husband. I think that is really very meaningful. And so far in my time working with you all, I think coming to 10 years plus already. The well, actually I know you from a distance, but it's nice to be in constant engagement and constant talking. I think the last time we met at Tai Seng and we had a cup of coffee. So I think you really help to inspire a lot of fathers, and I just want to thank you for that. Right.
Okay. Hey, Vincent, once again, thank you for being willing to have this conversation with me. I'm sure the things you shared today is going to impact a lot of fathers. A lot of fathers will say, hey, I think that's why saying that is good practice. If he has done that, I can do that also. So thank you very much and have a happy new year.